Assalamu alaikum, I'm Aisha and you're watching Samaa News. Here are today's headlines. US President Donald Trump has announced that he has agreed to a 2-week ceasefire with Iran. The decision follows diplomatic engagement led by Islamabad, who urged Washington to allow more time for negotiations. Trump said the ceasefire is contingent upon Iran agreeing to the complete, immediate and safe opening of the Strait of Hormuz. In a post on Truth Social, the US president stated that he will suspend planned military strikes against Iran for 2 weeks based on conversations with Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and Field Marshal Asim Munir, calling it a double-sided ceasefire. Trump also declared a total and complete victory following a 2-week ceasefire agreement with Iran. Speaking to AFP in a brief call, the US president insisted that Iran's remaining nuclear material would be taken care of under any peace deal. Trump further suggested that China may have played a role in pushing Iran toward negotiation, when asked whether Beijing had encouraged Tehran to agree to a truce. A spokesperson for the Chinese embassy in Washington told CNN that China had been working to promote a ceasefire since the conflict began. After Trump, Iran's Supreme National Security Council and Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi also announced that the country has agreed to a 2-week ceasefire. They said the ceasefire is contingent on safe reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, coordinated with Iran's armed forces. Iran submitted a 10-point proposal to the US through Pakistan, which included commitment to non-aggression by the US, continuation of Iranian control over the Strait of Hormuz, acceptance of Iran's uranium enrichment program, lifting of all primary sanctions imposed by successive US administrations, and withdrawal of US combat forces from the region. The Iranian Security Council described the acceptance of the proposal as a historic victory. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, on his part as a mediator, announced that both the United States and Iran have agreed to an immediate global ceasefire following Pakistan's diplomatic intervention. In a post on X, Shehbaz Sharif confirmed that the ceasefire is effective immediately and extends to all areas of conflict, including Lebanon and other regions. He invited delegations from both countries to Islamabad on Friday, April 10th, to negotiate a conclusive agreement aimed at settling all disputes and ensuring long-term peace and stability. He hoped the Islamabad talks succeed in achieving sustainable peace, with more good news in coming days. Iranian media has said that Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bakr Kalibaf is to head the Iranian negotiating team for talks in Islamabad with US Vice President J.D. Vance. Iran's Supreme Security Council said the negotiations would begin on Friday. Kalibaf, long seen as a protege of late Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and a confidant of his son Mujtaba, who has succeeded to the position of Supreme Leader, has been a leading voice of defiance against Israel and the United States. Moreover, Israel has said that it also supports US President Donald Trump's decision to suspend strikes against Iran for 2 weeks, but said the ceasefire does not include Lebanon. Benjamin Netanyahu's office said Israel backed the US move, provided Tehran immediately opens the straits and stops attacks against the United States, Israel, and countries in the region. Israel also said it supports US efforts to ensure Iran no longer poses a nuclear, missile, or terror threat to US, Israel, and Iran's Arab neighbours. At least 8 people have been killed and many more injured after an Israeli strike on a cafe in the Lebanese port city of Sidon. The strike came even as Trump announced of a 2-week ceasefire with Iran. Lebanon was pulled into the war when Iran-backed Hezbollah fired rockets at Israel on March 3rd, which in turn prompted a new Israeli ground and air offensive. On the other hand, China has hosted key talks between Pakistan and Afghanistan aimed at easing tensions and finding a long-term solution to their ongoing disputes. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning said both countries agreed not to take actions that could complicate or escalate the situation. She said Pakistan and Afghanistan agreed to explore a comprehensive solution to the conflict that erupted between the two countries last October. The agreement came during peace talks held in Urumqi, where both sides focused on addressing key issues and identifying possible measures to reduce tensions. And oil has fallen below $100 per barrel after US President Donald Trump said he agreed to a 2-week ceasefire with Iran that was subject to the immediate and safe reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. Brent futures fell $14.51, or 13.3%, to $94.76 a barrel, while WTI slid $17.16, or 15.2%, to $95.79 a barrel. That's all for now. For more updates, visit www.samaa.tv. Thank you for watching Samaa News.